Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. On this video, I'm going to be walking you through how I set up an aquarium for my dream fish. So stick around to the end of the video to find out what those fish are. So this project started when I came across a guy who was giving away a 6-foot aquarium. The bottom was in a bit of a rough state, but I'll get to that and how I fixed it. But first things first was to build an appropriate size stand for it because it didn't come with a stand or anything like that. And I also wanted to incorporate my 4-foot fancy goldfish aquarium into this stand as well because I only have limited space in my fish room. So this was a good opportunity to be able to, to be able to house two big tanks without losing too much room in the fish room. Now, there are plenty of videos on YouTube about like how to build these type of aquarium stands, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. But the timber that I used was 2x4s, which are 90 millimeters by 45 millimeters, and pretty much I just cut them into the right sizes and then just screwed it all together. So it's a really simple stand. It's certainly not going to win any architecture awards or anything like that, but it's a strong, sturdy stand that will definitely do the job. And what I'm doing here is I'm actually putting the center support for this tank off to one side. So then we have a better viewing of the 4-foot tank underneath, and then using the other section just for storage or something like that. You can see how the top section slots nicely between the main support legs and then the guides on the inside as well. And yeah, obviously putting in the supports going across as well is important, and putting in enough, and then making sure they're all level with the tops of the stand, so then you don't have any raised edges that could potentially crack the bottom of the tank. And then yeah, if you want to, you can put a top on it as well, which is what I'm doing here. And then for me, I just wanted to, finish it off kind of nicely, and then foam will go on top of that, and then finally the tank on top. And yeah, so this is pretty much how it turned out. I also gave it a bit of a sand and then ended up painting it with a semi-gloss black, which honestly is probably a bit too glossy for my liking. So if I was to do it again, I'll probably just do it with a matte finish or something like that. But at the end of the day, the stand turned out well and I'm happy with it. So this is my small fish room, and this is the 4-foot goldfish tank that you might have seen in a previous video on my channel. And this is going to get broken down, and well, I guess the inside of the tank, the substrate and all that will be taken out, broken down and whatever, but this actual tank will be used for the bottom section of that stand. So yeah, as always, these jobs take longer than you think it's going to take. So getting all the plants out, moving them across, say into another setup or something temporarily, and then I guess undoing all the work that you've kind of put into getting it set up previously. So I had some light brackets there to just hold up, some of the flood lighting the tank, and then all taking the opportunity to kind of clean up this section good and proper. So then once the new stand goes in, it's kind of good to go. And this new stand was actually quite heavy, so it took a bit of guts to get it in place. But once it was there, it fit really nicely because I all measured it out to make sure it did. And here we have the two tanks in place. You can see just how much bigger that 6-foot tank is than the 4-foot tank there. But yeah, it's looking good. It's going to hold about 400 liters of water, something like that. And then for the goldfish tank, I just put those LED floodlights back in place there, and they seem to do a good job of lighting up the plant. So I have the goldfish back in there soon. And then the actual tank itself, I don't really have any footage of this, but the bottom wasn't in very good condition, as you can see. But I was actually lucky enough to call up the guy who made this aquarium, and he gave me some advice on how to fix it. So I ended up cutting out a whole new panel for it, siliconing it all back together, and then water testing it, and obviously testing it for a good week or two to make sure it held water in it, and it did. And that was very good. I was very happy about that. And then picked up some temporary lights for now, that just to kind of light everything up but I will replace them in the future. And I got some fake logs in there as well, and just some river stones and just a mixed substrate, which is how I sort of finished off the tank. And here it is in its final form before putting the fish in. And yeah, I'm really happy with the progress so far. And that brings us to today, here and now. So finally, after a lot of work, a lot of effort, this tank is up and running. I'm very happy, and the fish are in. What are my dream fish that I was talking about? They are the Uaru cichlid, specifically the Uaru amphicanthoids. So I saw these guys on King of DIY, Joey's channel, I don't know, like years ago now, and I really love them. And I was like, one day if I get a tank big enough, I'm going to own these fish. And finally, I do. So I have 5 of them. They are juveniles. Their colorations are still in that very juvenile stage of kind of like looking like dead leaves, which is their survival techniques for when they're young. As they grow, as they get older, their actual colours really start to come through and settle in. So they'll be generally kind of an olivey green or a brown, or kind of like a grey with a solid black bar. And their eyes will be like quite red or quite yellow, which is kind of really striking. Their body shape is super interesting. So they're like kind of like an oval sort of shape, and their finnage, like they have a massive dorsal fin as well. When they start to flare, when they start to flex a bit, they look kind of really, really cool, really striking. And yeah, for like the month or so that I've had them, I've been really loving them, watching their behaviour. And for a cichlid, they're quite a peaceful fish, because a lot of the time with these bigger cichlids, they can be quite aggressive. But one thing that I have, I guess, read about them is that they are really peaceful, really placid, which I personally love. I like a peaceful, relaxing tank. That's kind of my vibe. So these fish kind of really tick a lot of boxes for me. And I'm just, obviously really excited, really happy to have them. So this tank is 6 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot. It holds about 450 litres. The filtration is also an idea that I got from Joey, which is a polycarbonate internal sump. So this was a really good way for me to save space in this small fish room, and then also be able to house enough media. So then as these guys get bigger, because they get to about 1 foot in size each, that the filter can hold enough media to be able to sustain that bioload. So as you can see, the first layer is a filter floss, which goes down into sponge, and then the water goes into the second chamber, up through a lot of biological media, bio rings, and then into the final chamber, which is the return pump with a couple heaters in it as well. That pump, as well as circulates the water. It also has some sponge on it for some extra biological media as well. I've got a small fluval sea wave maker in here, just to keep all the debris and that kind of off the bottom and in the water column, so the filter can clean it up. And yeah, keeping this tank moving, keep it circulating. Circulation is really important in an aquarium for the transfer of heat and things. And yeah, this scape is a really simple scape. As you can see, it's got a couple of fake logs in here, which I really love the look of. A mixed substrate with some smaller stones and sand, some of these bigger river rocks on top, which look, really nice. I did try some plants in here. I tried some Vallisneria and some cryptocoryns, but the Uaru are omnivores, so they decided to pull apart the plants, which I had guessed that they would, but some people have had success keeping them in planted tanks with some plants. So I thought I'd give it a go, but mine seem to love all things green, which is perfectly fine. I kind of knew that when I was getting them. So I might try some different plants, like some hardier ones, like Anubias and Java fern, see how they do. But so far they've eaten Java moss, cryptocoryns, Vallisneria. I don't know, I'm not too hopeful. But Yeah, I'm keen to do a spotlight on these fish soon and kind of give you guys a full rundown as I kind of learn about them, as I experience them, what I feed them, and then hopefully you'll be able to see them, yeah, kind of go into their adolescent stage as well in the next video. Hopefully in a few months' time or so, we'll see. They might be slow growers. Yeah, but I think that's about it for now. I'm so excited to have this tank up and running. It looks great. I hope you guys feel the same way. If you have any suggestions for this tank, I'm very much open to ideas, whether you want to see some more fish species in there, something like that. For now, I'm happy with them, just being the 5 Uaru. But yeah, who knows what the future holds. So any ideas, leave them in the comments down below. Thank you for liking, subscribing, sharing, all that good stuff, and I'll see you on the next video.